at 9. This Monday, the 27th of May 2024. Urumaya. President says lands with survey plan will be prioritised when conferring land ownership under Urumaya initiative. Health facilities on the A9 to be used for medical tourism.
Health and the Provincial Ministry and the Ministry of Technology must all look at how we can further develop and strengthen this.
Connectivity. Elon Musk's Starlink to be launched in Sri Lanka within months, reveals President's senior advisor on climate change. Government plans to establish SpaceX operations in Sri Lanka revealed.
We can get Starlink up and going in about 2 to 3 months, hopefully. Before the end of the year anyway, we are hoping to get it next year.
Alternatives. Commissioner General for Labour announces the minimum daily wage for tea and rubber estate workers. Planters Association rejects.
Revolution model is still going on. We didn't drop it. In fact, this time also you offered it.
Extreme weather. More than 55,000 affected in Sri Lanka as the weather wreaks havoc. In Bangladesh and India, 1 million evacuated.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දිනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබා දෙත හැක.
From Derana, this is Derana First at 9 with Indivadi Amuwata. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
And a very warm welcome as you join us on top of the week of rainy weather patterns continue and make landfall across the region. We begin with your top story. That's the inclement weather affecting parts of Sri Lanka and the rest of the region. Some 55,000 persons are severely affected in the prevailing inclement weather across Sri Lanka, and according to latest Met Department forecasts, the current severe weather patterns may not subside until September this year. The prevailing adverse weather conditions has brought authorities, including the Disaster Management Centre and the Tri-Forces, to implement relief measures to assist those affected. Meanwhile, Cyclone Ramal, which prevailed over Sri Lanka, has entered Bangladesh and West Bengal in India, smashing the low-lying coasts and prompting authorities to evacuate hundreds of thousands of people there. India's Department of Meteorology, meanwhile, predicts the system to gradually weaken further into a deep depression by tonight.
The highest rainfall to Sri Lanka was recorded from Karagala area in Ratnapura district during the last 24 hours, measuring to 143.3 millimeters. According to State Minister for Defence Primita Bandara Tennakoon, 55,406 persons belonging to 14,754 families are affected by the adverse weather.
We are informed of 7 deaths caused due to trees that collapsed. The Met Department predicts that the southwest monsoon condition to continue until September. We expect to initiate a program aimed at removing trees in the Colombo Municipal Council area with the risk of collapsing. We will implement this initiative within the next few days. The National Building Research Organisation raised concerns of rock sliding onto roads in hill areas of Kegol and Kadugannawa. We expect to begin efforts to remove rocks that are at high risk of slides. I was informed that we will have to close the road for traffic for a short period of time with prior notice.
Water levels of the rivers Kalu, Nilvala and Ging are on the rise and pose risks of potential flooding to the respective regions. In the meantime, water levels of the Castlereagh and Mausakkale reservoirs are experiencing a rapid increase. According to the National Building Research Organisation, 7 districts are still at risk of landslides. Early landslide warnings issued to areas in the Colombo, Gampaha, Kalutara, Kegol, Nuwara, Ratnapura and Kandy districts are extended further. Health officials raise concerns over a possible surge of dengue cases in Sri Lanka owing to the current rainy weather patterns.
As of today, there have been more than 24,500 reported cases of dengue in Sri Lanka. There has been a noticeable increase in the number of dengue cases in several districts, including Ratnapura, Colombo, Gampaha, Kandy, Kurunegala, Kegol and Galle. With the onset of monsoon rains, it is expected that the number of cases will continue to rise unless we take measures to eliminate potential mosquito breeding grounds. Therefore, we urge the general public to ensure that their homes, surroundings, and workplaces or schools are free from mosquito breeding sites. Also, if you experience a fever, please seek advice from a qualified doctor or visit the nearest hospital if the fever persists for more than 48 hours.
Cyclone Ramal, which prevailed over Sri Lanka, bringing adverse weather patterns, has entered Bangladesh and India's West Bengal at a speed of 135 km per hour. Authorities of both nations were prompted to evacuate over 1 million people and relocate them to safer areas. It is also reported that over 3 million in Bangladesh are experiencing power failures owing to adverse weather.
Crunchy goodness for hunger on the go.
ජීවිතේ හැම තැනකදීම ස්මාර්ට් වෙන්න පොලිය විතරක් ගෙවාගෙන යන්න CDB Smart Draft.
A number of political parties and intellectual groups, including the National Freedom Front, the Pivithuru Helaurumeya and Maubima Janatha Party, inked an agreement paving the way for a new political movement named Sarva Jana Balaya. The event, marking the official launch of Sarva Jana Balaya, was attended by leaders of its member parties, including MP Vimal Veeravansa of National Freedom Front, MP Udaya Gammampila of Pivithuru Helaurumeya and Dilith Jayavira of Maubima Janatha Party.
Several political parties and intellectual groups signed an agreement today to form the new political movement Sarva Jana Balaya. The National Freedom Front, Pivithuru Helaurumeya, Democratic Left Front, Sri Lanka Communist Party, the Maubima Janatha Party, the Yuthukama Forum and the Forum of Independent MPs led by parliamentarian Professor Channajai Sumana were party to the agreement.
Right-wing liberalism and left-wing liberalism are the two major political movements in the country. Ranil Wickremesinghe, the main opponent of right-wing liberalism, claims that he will fully enforce the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. Professor Harini Amarasuriya and the left-wing liberalism fully support him in this. Therefore, these two political movements are one and the same. Apart from these two movements, right-wing nationalism is represented by the Mahinda Rajapaksa-led Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Party. Apart from these two movements, right-wing nationalism is represented by the Mahinda Rajapaksa-led Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Unfortunately, they have become Ranil Wickremesinghe's lackeys. Because of this, the people of the country are desperate for an alternative nationalist political movement. This is the beginning of that movement.
We will present our strategic plan within a month. We are ready to open a dialogue with the people about our plan.
Today, the political camp that I have represented has come together in a decisive manner as a collective. Our principles are nationalism, humanity and good faith. The people of this country must understand that their local representatives become an entirely different person once they enter parliament. Once in parliament, they will willingly betray the country in exchange for petty privileges. This is a regrettable state of affairs. Now, Sarva Jana Balaya is the last remaining bastion of populist politics.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe today said priority will be given to lands that already have a survey plan when conferring ownership under the Urumeya program. He said this while joining a ceremony to distribute 700 freehold land deeds for residents of the Vaunia and Mana districts yesterday. He also said that under the program, freehold land deeds are planned to be given to around 2 million people. However, around 1 million deeds will be delayed due to the prevailing issues related to land rights.
Under the Urumeya program, 700 freehold land deeds across 4 divisional secretariat divisions in the Vaunia district and 5 divisional secretariat divisions in the Mana district were distributed yesterday with the participation of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Under the initial phase of the Urumeya initiative, a total of 4,500 freehold deeds are slated to be distributed to the Vaunia and Mana districts.
Since 1935, land licenses have been issued for agricultural purposes and housing construction without actual land ownership rights. I made the decision to grant you freehold land. Despite concerns raised by some about the possibility of land sale due to this initiative, I have faith that you will not sell this land. Conferring ownership of government land to the people is also a form of privatization. The population has endured considerable hardship in the past due to the COVID-19 pandemic and economic crisis. As a result of this crisis, approximately 70% of the country's population saw a decline in the value of their properties. However, with the issuance of freehold deeds today, the value of your land is poised to increase. We have 2 million people to give land deeds to. Of that, around 1 million have issues related to their lands. It will take some time to sort this out. The other 1 million doesn't have land issues. Some of them have plans, while others do not. We will prioritize lands with survey plans. There are around 25,000 to 30,000 deeds to be given in the Vaunia and Mannar area. It can't be less than that. Upon completion of the Malwatoya project, cultivation in the Mannar district will have significant assistance.
Following the event, President Wickremesinghe also joined the inauguration of the Cardiology and Nephrology units at the Vaunia District General Hospital, which was constructed with the support of the Netherlands government with an investment of 3.3 billion rupees.
With the opening of this unit, we have considerably strengthened the health services in the north. There's one more to be done. We'll renovate and develop the district hospital of Mannar. But there's something else that you have done unknowingly. A9 is the spine of Sri Lanka. On that you have placed 3 modern medical facilities at Vaunia, at Mankulam, at Kilinochchi. Other end you have Anuradhapura and the teaching hospital there. So that's 5. In my view, the Ministry of Health and the Provincial Ministry and the Ministry of Technology must all look at how we can further develop and strengthen this. Now those have many potentials for medical tourism, but more than that for Sri Lankans who also want to get treatment.
The Planters Association of Ceylon rejects the government's proposed daily wage for estate workers to be increased to 1,700 rupees. The planters argue their cost of production has gone up in recent times due to government decisions, which include the 2021 chemical fertilizer ban. The association, however, said the wage increase can be implemented if the price of a kilogram of Ceylon tea is sold at least at $10 in the international market. The association further said that the planters are struggling to get maximum productivity in estates due to the intervention of trade union activists.
Tea exporters are the face of Ceylon tea, and to the consumer, Ceylon tea is the brand that they see. And if the brand is bad, then the quality is bad, they will stop buying. What are we doing by taking ad hoc decisions like this? You bring the brand down. If the labor cost is 1,500 rupees or whatever, which we cannot sustain the industry, we have to cut down everything else. Cut down fertilizer, cut down transport, let the leaf go to the factory when it's half rotten because you are trying to minimize on transport. All those things will reduce the quality of tea. That these people who make decisions just don't understand. Our tea goes to the world market. Our auction is dependent on world prices. Our chairman said we are getting $5. What is $5? 1,500 rupees. We should aim at getting minimum about $10. Then we will be somewhere. But nationalization, banning of glyphosate, banning of fertilizer, and now this. Did they ever consult us? No. And all these things brought our industry down. If it continues like that, unfortunately, we will not have Ceylon tea in this world. Ceylon tea will be a thinking of the past. Can our politicians, can our decision makers not understand that they cannot take decisions for us? It is we who should take decisions for us.
With the union, like you did earlier, long time ago also you had this bargaining.
The rupee has appreciated. Earlier, if we got 340 rupees to $1, and if I got $3, we are paid in rupees, not in dollars. Now the rupee has strengthened, so rupee has lost its value, so we are getting less today. In fact, the Colombo auction prices has come down by 10%, while fertilizer has gone up by 12 or 13 fold. Fertilizer, fuel has gone up, electricity has gone up, yeast rental has gone up, everything else has gone up. People forget that part. Yes, of course, tea prices went up, right? But in line with the increase in tea prices, every other item of input has gone up.
The input goes up, labor also has to go up.
So why only target the tea? Then tell me other 44 wages boards. Of course, it's a very noble intention of the government. Then I suppose the whole country, the wages have to go up. And where we have given a suitable, viable alternative for the workers, everything has gone up. You can't hold the planters responsible. No, we are responsible for the industry.
Why don't you find any possible ways to increase the wages through export revenue?
At that time, what was the cost of fertilizer? What is the cost of a unit of electricity? What is the cost of a liter of fuel? At that time, we paid 100 rupees. Today, labor wage is 1,150.
So everything has increased. In all the wages codes, we are still the highest. We are not averse to paying because we know we need workers. Revenue share model is still going on. We didn't drop it. In fact, this time also we offered it. The unions didn't take. Are still willing to do the revenue share model. Still we offered at the rate of 65 rupees. We are still continuing that. So it's up to them. We are given the solution. If they don't take the solution, they can't blame us for the problem created out of that. Still we are willing to do the revenue share model.
Satellite internet service Starlink is set to be launched in Sri Lanka within the next 2 to 3 months. President's senior advisor on climate change, Ruwan Wijewardena, said discussions between President Ranil Wickremesinghe and US-based tech billionaire Elon Musk on Sri Lankan investments were successful. Ruwan Wijewardena added that following the successful launch of Starlink, the government of Sri Lanka plans to enter discussions with Musk's aerospace company SpaceX on establishing operations in Sri Lanka. He also stated that Elon Musk had expressed his interest to visit Sri Lanka soon and explore the possibility of investing in solar power generation projects.
The World Water Forum was held from the 18th to the 20th of May in Bali, Indonesia. On the sidelines of that forum, President Ranil Wickremesinghe engaged in discussions with entrepreneur Elon Musk. During the discussions, Elon Musk informed the president that the applications necessary to integrate Sri Lanka into the satellite-based internet service Starlink had already been submitted to relevant Sri Lankan authorities. He requested the president's assistance in obtaining necessary clearances for the implementation of the project. The president promised to expedite the approval process. Musk further said that he will come to Sri Lanka to attend the launch of the Starlink network.
He suggested when we launch Starlink in Sri Lanka, he will come here for the launch. So we are trying to see whether we can get Starlink up and going within about 2 to 3 months, hopefully. Before the end of the year anyway, we are hoping to get Elon Musk here and get the Starlink operational.
How are discussions with SpaceX going?
So the SpaceX discussions will start as soon as we show that we are confident in getting Starlink up and going. First, we need to show that Sri Lanka is a place for investors to come and invest their money and start these global projects. So SpaceX discussions most probably will start once we launch Starlink here in Sri Lanka.
There have been reports that Elon Musk is also interested in renewable energy generation in Sri Lanka. What is the progress of those discussions?
The president explained to Musk the Sri Lankan government's policy on investment related to renewable energy projects. Musk responded positively to it. Musk is chiefly interested in solar power generation. He said that he will look into the matter further during his visit to Sri Lanka.
Minister of Transport and Highways Dr. Bandula Gunawardena stated that the country has sufficient resources after working with the terms of the International Monetary Fund. Meanwhile, parliamentarian S.M. Marika claimed that a globally acknowledged group from a SJP-powered government will have the ability to focus on neglected areas of the country's economy. With that, here are some statements and views expressed on the political stage today.
දැන් රජය ලහි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට 50 ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා. එච්චර හදිසියක් කවදාවත් තිබුණේ නැහැ. 50 45ක් විතර ඉක්මනට පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කළා සම්මත කරගන්න අධිෂ්ඨානයක් රජය තුල තිබෙනවා. ජනාධිපතිවරයාට ඉන්නේ එක മന്ത്രിවරයා. ඉතින් මේ මහා විශාල වැඩපිළිවෙළවල් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඉදිරිපත් කළාට ඒවා සම්මත කරනවාද නැද්ද කියන තීරණය ගැනීමට සිදුවන්නේ වෙන කාටවත් නෙමෙයි ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදු ජන පෙරමුණට.
දැනට තෙල් තියෙන්නේ, පෝර තියෙන්නේ, කැම බීම තියෙන්නේ. ජාත්‍යන්තර මූල්‍ය අර මුදලේ විස්තීර්ණ ණය ගිවිසුමේ කොන්දේසි අනුව කටයුතු කළා තමයි ඒ ටික තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා මේ විනාශයක් කරගන්න නැතුව රටක් බේරා ගැනීම සඳහා තමයි කටයුතු කරන්න ඕනේ. මේ පිළිබඳ අත්දැකීම බලපොරොත්තු හැකියාව රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපතිතුමාට තියෙනවා.
දැන් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා මහා ලොකු ආර්ථික ඔස්තාර. හැබැයි ණය ප්‍රතිව්‍යුහ කර කිරීමේදී කේවල් කිරීමේ හැකියාව එතුමාට නැහැ. මොකද හේතුව බදු විතරයි. වෙන දෙයක් කරගෙන නැහැ. අපනයනය වැඩි කරලා නැහැ. ඒ වගේම ඍජු විදේශ ආයෝජන නැහැ. ඒ නිසා ලෝකයාගේ පිළිගැනීම ගත්ත ප්‍රායෝගික කණ්ඩායමක් ඕන. සමගි ජන බලවේග ආණ්ඩුවකුත් හදලා තමයි මේක කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has expressed its deepest condolences on the demise of the ambassador of France to Sri Lanka and the Maldives, Jean-Francois. Now, in an official statement, the Foreign Ministry stated that it is deeply saddened to hear about the sudden demise of the French ambassador in Colombo. The ministry further stated that the assistance will be provided to the French authorities and the late ambassador's family. In the meantime, the Embassy of France to Sri Lanka and the Maldives released an official statement on the passing of the French ambassador Jean-Francois Passet and stated that the embassy will notify the funeral details soon. It further noted that a book of condolences will be opened tomorrow at 1 p.m. until Thursday for local authorities, diplomats and members of the French community. The French ambassador to Sri Lanka and the Maldives passed away in Colombo yesterday due to a sudden illness while at his official residence in Rajagiriya. And Colombo magistrate Pavitra Sanjeevani ordered the release of Aura Lanka chairman Viranjit Tambukala on bail of 10 million rupees. Today, the chairman of Aura Lanka was remanded for defrauding a sum of 70 million rupees. The case is scheduled to be called again on the 29th of July. With that, here's a look at some news in brief.
The incident was reported in close proximity to the Pathegama Model Primary School in Baligama in Mathur district this morning. No injuries were reported in the shooting. It is believed the target had been a suspect of another shooting incident. In other local news, officials of Kaluthura Range Crime Division arrested an individual who had in his possession 1 kilogram and 850 grams of heroin, which has a street value of 50 million rupees. Police identifies the suspect as a close associate of a drug trafficker and organized criminal who goes by the alias Dubai Taranga. Ingiriya police arrested a pharmacy owner and a 25-year-old individual who sold drugs to school children in Ingiriya. The Ingiriya police also confiscated nearly 500 narcotic pills from the possession of the suspects.
Welcome back in business. The Colombo Bulls began trading for the week, diverging from the previous week's positive trend. Stocks closed lower, dragged down by consumer staples and financial stocks. The all-share price index lost 38 points to 12,311, mainly due to prevailing uncertainties and investors proceeded with a cautious stance ahead of the next central bank monetary policy tomorrow. Market turnover fell to 494.4 million from 1.46 billion rupees in the previous session. This is a 4-month low and an 80% reduction from monthly average of 2.4 billion rupees. Less than 10,000 trades were recorded today, reflecting decreased investor participation. The banking sector led turnover at 21% contribution, followed by food, beverage and tobacco. Diversified financials. Foreign investors were net buyers with net inflow of 7.9 million rupees. Sri Lanka's rupee meanwhile depreciated slightly to close at 350 to 370 against the US dollar. That's all the news we have for you tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow at the same time. I'm Indivari Amwatha. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.